Hello, Bigfoot enthusiast. Scott here from Squatch America.
And Hannah, domestic goddess in the paddy wagon. And look at this. I don't know how this happened, but I am matching everything. My Yay USA mug from Tractor Supply matches my Love USA shirt from Tractor Supply, which matches our US flag backdrop, and his not from Tractor Supply, his mug from Tractor Supply. In case you ever want to get us a weird gift, just go to Tractor Supply and find a gift card.
Yeah,
we're good.
We go.
We love it.
You're hilarious.
I know.
All right.
It's true.
Well, folks, we got a great show for you tonight. And before we get started, you need to go procure some pencil and a paper, because tonight there will be a test. Just saying. And none of this is working tonight. What the heck? All right. I hope everything's working fine. It looks like it might be. We are actually in an internet hole tonight.
Still.
So next week we won't be. So
I want to give Thousand Trails kudos where kudos are due. These campgrounds are generally very beautiful. However, these campgrounds were built decades ago. Mm-hmm. Prior to the interwebs being a thing, and so connectivity is not something that they think about.
Yeah. And
I think honestly, as the world moves more and more to remote working, they need to think about that.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah.
So hi Dale and Scott.
Scott from Maine. Woo! Do you know, honestly,
Dale's from Maine.
Dale's from Maine too, but we what was I saying? Oh yeah,
words.
But yeah, I know words. I need them tonight. Dale's like cousins. We talk to them all the time. But you know what? I think about Maine all the time, and I honestly think that's still contending for when we settle down someday. It might happen.
All right. So and hi Grace from
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Are you ignoring me?
Yes, a lot. So. The East Coast is well represented.
Yay!
We are actually tonight. We are broadcasting from the very West Coast. I mean,
yes.
We can't get much more West Coast because the ocean's like right there.
We saw it yesterday.
Yeah.
And actually, do you know what? Sometimes I can taste it.
Yeah.
I can taste it.
Yeah. So we were that close to.
We're like walking distance. If we wanted
Ocean.
To walk a mile, if we walked a mile
behind
that
us.
way, we would get to the ocean.
Yep.
Like waves, but anyway. So
tonight's show was actually triggered by we had coffee the other day with Bigfoot enthusiast Dennis and
his mother Mary.
And he had I don't want to say sighting. He had an encounter. That was the word I was looking for. He had an encounter with Bigfoot, and he wanted to learn more about it because he hadn't really known anything about Bigfoot or anything, and his encounter kind of triggered the search for him. So we had coffee with him the other day and sat down and talked to Bigfoot for a couple hours almost. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It was a 2 coffee date.
Yes, it was.
Had to go and get new coffee.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I have a new favorite coffee drink. Mm-hmm. Sugar-free peanut butter breve.
There we go.
Oh my goodness.
And I have a new one too.
Yes, yours is a
it's called a Mexican mocha. Mm-hmm. It's basically coffee mocha with cinnamon.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, and howdy Galen. We'll be back in Baker here shortly, dude. So coming up.
I hope Coffee Corral has sugar-free peanut butter stuff.
I hope they do. So anyway, so I said you had to get your paper and pencil. I hope you got it ready. Because tonight's show is brought to you by that discussion we were talking about over coffee. and it triggered a question that's right up Miss Hannah's alley. So tonight's show is brought to you by
an awful lot of student loan debt.
an awful lot of student loan debt.
Okay.
And Hannah's all 3 degrees are kind of coalescing. So you get to hear Hannah's 3 master's degrees at work tonight. So
and my bachelor's.
And her bachelor's.
Like basically all 4 degrees.
Okay.
Yeah. So got to get some mileage out of my 150K that I still owe
Yeah.
the quickly growing insolvent government.
Yep. So, and hi, Papa. How you doing?
All right.
My friend. Okay. So.
Are we ready?
Are we ready?
Really quickly, before you start flipping to slides, let me just tell everyone a little bit about myself, because I haven't really shared. Everyone knows that you're an anthropologist. You're actually an anthropologist.
Actually. No.
I know. So anyway, I am, unbeknownst to the Bigfoot world, I am a little more than the Lucy of the Bigfoot world.
Yeah.
I am just going to say I'm highly educated, highly in debt because I'm highly educated. And my undergraduate degree is in psychology, education, and music. And I have 3 master's degrees, one in social work, which is a branch of anthropology.
Yeah.
A master's in social work, a master's in teaching, and a master's in music education. And when we left our life behind to follow Bigfoot, I had absolutely no idea how I was going to use any of that. But here we are tonight. So get your paper and your pencils ready, because now you can start flipping to slides.
Yeah, and we're going to go through and a lot of this stuff has to do with your
undergrad degree, actually.
Yeah, her
my undergraduate thesis.
Yeah, her thesis, which is actually a published book, and
that was not it.
Oh, that was
a different one.
A different one. Okay.
I do have a published thesis, but anyway, just flip the slide.
Okay.
Flip the slide.
Well, her published, it's used by, isn't it still used by the California social work?
Yeah. People use my thesis all the time. I get quoted. I don't really care.
Okay.
All right. So tonight, we want to talk about, is it woo or is it science? And this came up because Dennis brought up intelligence and intuition and all those things that people ask about. How intelligent is Bigfoot? Is Bigfoot a spirit creature? Bigfoot moves so mysteriously through the woods. First he was there, then he was not. How and all these things. And that triggered some conversation about how humanoids have humanoids. I sound like a Star Trekkie. How humans, sapien or Homo sapien or otherwise, have evolved over time. And that got me thinking about intelligence. So am I clicking slides or are you clicking? Nope. So we're going to talk about the intelligence of Bigfoot tonight.
Yes.
So click the slide. There you go. All right. So where's my picture?
What?
I'm missing my picture. Oh, you've got to play that. Can you play that film there?
Oh.
There it is. No. When you converted it, you lost my movie.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
All right. I want you to imagine the thinker.
Yeah. Okay.
Only Bigfoot.
All right.
Put in the chat that you're imagining thinker, only Bigfoot.
Only Bigfoot thinker.
I want to see it.
All right. So
okay.
There you go.
Anyway.
And hi, Donna. Welcome.
Yeah. Welcome, everyone.
And you're in Texas. Cool. You should stop and see Joe. Okay.
Yeah.
Go.
Okay. So what is intelligence? Intelligence is the biopsychological potential to process information that can be activated in a cultural setting to solve problems or create products that are of value in a culture. And what did you say when I told you that last night, honey?
I don't remember.
So I said that to Scott when I was kind of going over my thoughts with him. And He said, gosh, there are a lot of big words in that.
Yeah, there is. There's a
So basically, intelligence in this context is defined as our biological, psychological potential to solve problems that are unique to our society, to our community. And that this particular definition was postulated by a very famous psychologist in the 1960s. His name was Howard Gardner. And Howard Gardner is the psychologist whose theories I based my entire undergraduate studies on. So we're going to be talking a lot about him. So remember that intelligence is our biological, psychological ability to come up with culturally appropriate solutions to problems, to specific problems. Okay. And Scott is actually going to watch the chat.
I'm on it.
And I'm going to tell him when to stop. Okay.
Okay.
So next slide.
Well, hold on. I got to get rid of something here. I just noticed. There we go.
All right. Next slide, please.
There we go.
All right. So now this is actually something that this guy here taught me. He taught me so much about Homo sapien evolution. And here's something that I want to provide as a framework. All behavior, good, bad, or indifferent, all behavior of any creature is all about survival. Everything is about survival. So with that in mind, I want to not be distracted by Scott trying to type in front of me, but I want to just kind of review how Homo sapiens evolved from what they started out as to what we are today. So as Homo sapiens, there are certain things that hallmark us. One is that we're very small. We are small, not very strong creatures. We are weak. I mean, I just have to take Daisy for a walk to know how weak I am. We're weak. We are vulnerable. If you notice, what do we have covering us? We have skin. We get cold easy. We get cut easy. Again, all Daisy has to do is jump up on me, and all of a sudden I'm bleeding from somewhere. So we're small, we're weak, we're vulnerable, and in early stages of our development, we were not hunters, we were scavengers. So we were the bottom of the food chain. All right. So small, weak, vulnerable scavengers is how we started out.
Right.
Because of that, and you can correct me anytime that you think I'm wrong, Mr. Anthropology Man. Because of that, we started banding together in large groups to collaborate. It forced us to cooperate with each other.
It did, yes.
And through that cooperation, we started developing tools to help us scavenge so that we could get to things like bone marrow.
But
help me out here.
Okay, you got it right, but just kind of a little bit backwards.
That's okay. I'm not
okay.
I'm the sociologist, not the anthropologist.
Being weak like we were, and I'm talking early humans, as in Ardipithecus, probably.
I didn't even know that word.
We had to be scavengers. We weren't great at hunting and killing things. We were gatherers and scavengers. And by the time we got to scavenge a carcass, basically, it was down to the bones. The only thing left was the bone marrow, which we ate. And the bone marrow being the highest protein part of an animal, that grew our brains. And I'm talking, this is over, millions of years. Okay, that grew our brains to the point where we started developing tools and things like that. Okay, and that's what helped our intelligence launch.
So our brains grew. We were able to collaborate. And then we started developing tools, and also that extra protein helped our bodies evolve, so that eventually, as a collaborative group, we could start hunting because we evolved to a place where we could outpace our prey.
That was a technique learned later.
We learned to outpace our prey. We still can't overpower prey. I mean, your favorite magicians found that out when their tigers got them.
Right.
But we could outpace it. We could exhaust it, and then we could use the tools that we developed to kill it. And so all this happened as we evolved, and we evolved in community, because one person could not outpace and exhaust, let's say, an antelope, but a whole tribe of humans in a relay fashion could. Correct? Ish. Something like that. So we evolved. Our bodies and our intelligence, our ability to solve problems, evolved as a community, and it was all for self and community protection. Remember, I said everything was about survival. So everything that we learned to do over time was to protect ourselves as individuals and as a community, because the larger and the stronger the community was, the more likely that community could go out and get the resources it needed to survive. Next slide, please.
Clink, clink.
All right, so this is where we come into the topic of intelligence. All right. Topic of intelligence, and this was my undergraduate specialty. Yes. So Howard Gardner postulated that actually over time humans have developed 8 different forms of intelligence. We're going to go through all of these, but each different types of intelligence developed to provide varied solutions to complex societal problems. All right. So what I want you to do tonight is just think about, we're going to briefly review each one of these intelligences. And I want you to think about what some of the societal things that they could not yet.
Okay.
You're
ready.
too soon. You're too soon. Anyway, think about different societal problems that some of these could address, and I'll bring up some of them. I don't know how to, like this. Okay, so here we go. The first type of intelligence we want to talk about is linguistic intelligence. I can hardly see this. Can you make this bigger? Is that a possibility? Thank you. I can read now. That's it. I can see. All right. So the first type of intelligence is called linguistic, and that means language. There are some humans that are really skilled with languagey things, people who speak well and who write well. So people like Shakespeare, Winston Churchill, Ronald Reagan, great orators, great writers. Talk to a lawyer. I was once told that I should be a lawyer because I could talk anyone to death.
True.
Lawyers, authors, public speakers, journalists, and even, like museum curators, people who are in a public speaking sort of position. All right, next slide. All right. And the other thing about linguistics is as humans developed tribes, they had to be able to communicate with other tribes. And so there we have the development of language. All right. So then we have interpersonal intelligence. Can you make these bigger?
Oh my gosh.
I'm serious. I know you want to see all the chats, but I want to see what I'm doing.
Okay.
Because one intelligence I don't have is visual. I can't see Jack. Okay. All right. So interpersonal intelligence. And someone with strong interpersonal intelligence is a really good people person. People like teachers, therapists, business managers, salespeople, people in public relations, people like Mahatma Gandhi and Mother Teresa and the Dalai Lama. They were really, really good at interacting with other people. All right. So next, just click the slides. We're going to blaze right through these. All right. So then we have the logical mathematical intelligence, quantifying things, making hypotheses, and proving them. So your Einsteins, your Stephen Hawkings, your Elon Musks. Mr. Musk, please make Starlink available for travelers.
Okay.
Because then we won't be in an internet hole ever.
I'm sure he's watching.
I know he is. He's a nice guy, apparently. Mathematicians, statisticians, accountants, scientists, your Geek Squad people, your computer geeks, All right, next one. All right. And then we have intrapersonal. Intrapersonal. Understanding yourself, what you feel, what you want in life, and basically being empathetic enough to be able to feel, sense the same in other people. Whereas interpersonal is more of your extroverted intelligence and personality style. Intrapersonal is your more introverted. You're kind of within yourself. Philosophers like Aristotle, counselors, life coaches, clergy members, and even entrepreneurs. That's a hard word for me. So your Aristotles, your Maya Angelos. How many of you ladies love Maya Angelou quotes? My favorite is, it's something like, it's one thing to survive, but it's great to survive, but it's better to thrive. In fact, she actually said something that said, when you belong to yourself, you belong everywhere and to everyone. And that quote by Maya Angelou actually has shaped the last 2 years of my life. Jordan Peterson, if you guys have not listened to Jordan Peterson, he is an amazing psychologist and modern day philosopher. We love listening to him. Okay, next slide. All right. I can't see it.
Yeah, you can.
No, can't. Then we have bodily kinesthetic intelligence. This is coordinating your mind with your body. Athletes, mechanics, surgeons, contractors, physical therapists, people who really understand how the body moves in the world. People like Michael Jordan, Mike Rowe, the Dirty Jobs guy, our son, Dustin Violet. Really strong in bodily kinesthetic intelligence. Next slide. Then we have musical intelligence, discerning sounds, their pitch, tone, rhythm, and timbre. It's not timber, it's timbre.
It's timbre.
It's timbre. Anyway, music director.
I've never heard a logger say timbre.
That's because they have a different kind of intelligence.
Okay.
Music directors, solo artists, composers, ensemble performers, disc jockeys, all have strong musical intelligence. People like Beethoven, Freddie Mercury, and me. Next slide. Okay, then we have naturalistic intelligence, a strong understanding of living things and reading nature. So your loggers shouting timber. Farmers, astronomers, meteorologists, not weather folks on the news, but actual meteorologists who understand weather patterns. Biologists, geologists, people like Jane Goodall, George Washington Carver, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Okay, next slide. Why do you keep doing that?
So I can see the chat.
Nothing new. Make it big so I can read. The next, and okay, so here it comes. Next type of intelligence, spatial intelligence. And people with strong spatial intelligence can visualize the world in 3D. The way I like to explain this is, those of you who grew up taking standardized tests in like 4th and 8th and 11th grade, you know that one where they said, what would a cube look like if you took it apart and laid it flat? And then you had like 3 choices. I always flunked those because I'm going, I don't know. I can't figure it out. However, this guy can not only lay it flat on the table, he can refold it into something new and know exactly what it's going to look like. So cartographers who are map makers, pilots, visual artists and photographers, architects, biochemists because they have to know what molecules look like in space. Frank Lloyd Wright, Amelia Earhart, Scott Weiland. Amazing spatial. All right, so go back one. Go back. Go. Okay, there we go. So those are the 8 types of human intelligence. Let's take a quick commercial break and get your paper and pencil ready.
You get your paper and pencil ready? Okay. Yep. You didn't give me a heads up. Now I got to click buttons and stuff. I need one of those.
Hey, honey, are you at all worried about the future?
Little bit.
Little bit? Well, I don't blame you. It's a little crazy out there. And if you're worried about the future, I don't blame you either. Friends, we now live in a very dangerous world. The unthinkable could happen at any moment. When it does, get ready for global supply chains to break down quickly and for there to be a run on stores. That means the smart thing to do is prepare for the worst today. You need emergency food to get you through whatever happens next. And we highly recommend My Patriot Supply, America's largest emergency preparedness company. Orders over $99 get free shipping, and your order ships in unmarked boxes to your doorstep. This is something every American family may soon need. Click on our affiliate link below, but do it now. Don't be a victim.
All right.
Okay, welcome back. And we had a great question from Donna. So where does Bigfoot fall in this list of intelligence? Well, that's the point of our whole discussion tonight. And I'm talking really fast because we may have a lot. So just hang on. You're going to get to it. But remember, everything in human intelligence is about our evolution to survive. And I should have mentioned this at the beginning. We are coming from the assumption that Bigfoot is a Homo species, just like us, but evolving differently. So get your paper and your pencil or your pen out, or however it is you take notes. Go to the next slide, because we are going to rate ourselves. We're going to figure out ourselves.
Oh, no.
You need to flip things.
I'm flipping things.
All right. So go to the next slide. All right. So start taking notes. What is your intelligence? You are going to score yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 means no, the statement is not at all like me. 2, the statement is a little bit like me. 3, the statement is somewhat like me. 4, the statement is a lot like me. And 5, yes, the statement is definitely me. We don't want to spend too much time on this. Verbal linguistic intelligence. I can use lots of different words to express myself. How do you rate?
You say one is no and
so
5 is yes.
Yeah, 1 is
scale.
yes. Yeah,
Okay.
somewhere 1 is no and 5 is yes on a scale of 1 to 5. Okay. I feel comfortable working with languages and words.
Okay.
I enjoy crosswords and other word games like Scrabble. Denise, 5. I tend to remember things exactly as they are said to me.
Yeah, you want to write these down, because we got to add them up and stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
I enjoy participating in debates and or discussions. I find it easy to explain things to others. I enjoy keeping a written journal and or writing stories and articles. I like to read a lot. Okay, and if you don't have paper or pen, or like Donna said, no memory to remember all this, you can listen to these descriptions, because these are traits of each type of intelligence, and you can kind of go, hey, that sounds like me. No, that doesn't sound like me, or whatever, and you can get kind of a pretty good idea. All right, so
that was verbal.
That was verbal. So all right, next one is logical mathematical. I work best in an organized work area. I enjoy maths and using numbers. I keep a things to do list. I enjoy playing brain teasers and logic puzzles. I like to ask why questions. I work best when I have a schedule or a day planner. I quickly grasp cause and effect relationships. I always do things one step at a time. Okay. Moving on. Visual spatial. I understand color combinations and what colors work well together. In other words, you have more than 8 crayons in your personal Crayola box.
Yeah, she says I have 8 crayons in my box, because that's the only 8 colors I know.
I enjoy jigsaw maze and other visual puzzles. I read charts and maps easily. I like to watch the scenes and activities in movies. I am observant and often see things that others miss. I have a good sense of direction. I can quickly anticipate the moves and consequences in a game plan. And I picture scenes in my head when I remember things. Remember you telling me I'd lost my keys and you said to me, every time you put your keys down, you need to explode that spot.
Yeah,
in
that's
your
what
head.
I do. That's a little trick I learned a long time ago. When you set your keys down on something, pretend your keys are a grenade and it blows up the coffee table and goes off. That's what I visualize in my head. So I just have to remember the last thing I blew up in the house.
It doesn't work for me. Anyway. All right. Interpersonal. That's your extroverted intelligence. I can sense the moods and feelings of others. I work best when interacting with people. I enjoy team rather than individual sports. I can sort out arguments between friends. I prefer group to solitary activities. I enjoy learning about different cultures. I enjoy social events like parties. And I enjoy sharing my ideas and feelings with others. I know we're running through these really fast, but this hour always goes so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, musical intelligence. I often play music in my mind. You don't even want to go in there with me. My mood changes when I listen to music. It is easy for me to follow the beat of music. Remember when I was trying to teach you about offbeats?
Yeah.
Oh, I can pick out different instruments when I listen to a piece of music. I keep time when music is playing. Some of us don't just keep time, we actually conduct in the air.
Yeah.
I can hear an off-key note. I find it easy to engage in musical activities. And I can remember pieces of music easily. Every song I ever heard.
Every song she ever heard. She not only can sing it, she can play it. It's just weird.
Okay. All right. Naturalistic intelligence. Pollution makes me angry. I notice similarities and differences in trees, flowers, and other natural elements. I feel very strongly about protecting the environment. I enjoy watching nature programs on television. Do you remember Walt Disney, those Walt Disney movie documentaries about nature? I miss those.
The Wild Kingdom.
Well, that was Mutual of Omaha,
Was
Wild Kingdom. I remember
yeah.
that. But sometimes on the Wonderful World of Walt Disney back in the 70s, they would have like this the Amazing World of the Honeybee or something like that. I loved those. It's like the only thing on here. I participate in cleanup days. So I'll go to the beach and pick up trash. I like planting and caring for a garden.
Actually, I did that yesterday.
Did you?
Uh-huh.
You did. You picked up a plastic fork.
And some other stuff that was
okay. I didn't even see them. Yeah.
Yep.
I like planting and caring for a garden. I don't know how much I like it, but I'm going to do it. I enjoy fishing, bushwalking, and bird watching. And another word is forest bathing. I would love to hear if anyone has heard of forest bathing. I would or I do enjoy working with plants and animals.
Okay.
Body kinesthetic intelligence. I like to move, tap, or fidget when sitting.
Okay.
I enjoy participating in active sports. I am curious about how things feel and tend to touch objects and examine textures.
She always has to touch everything in the store.
I am well coordinated. Nope. I fall like a fainting goat. Are you kidding me? Okay. I like working with my hands.
Mm-hmm.
I like to be physically involved rather than sitting and watching.
Yep.
I learn best by doing. I like to think through things while walking or running. Okay. Intrapersonal. This is the more introverted intelligence. I know myself well. I have a few close friends. I have strong opinions about controversial issues. I work best at self-paced activities. I am not easily influenced by others. I have a good understanding of my own feelings and how I will react to different situations. I often raise questions about values and beliefs. And I enjoy working independently. All right, so tally your scores. We should have all 8. Look, do we have 8 there? Yep, we have all 8. So tally your scores. Take a few minutes, just a few. I will tell you right now that my primary intelligences are musical, verbal linguistic, and go back one. Oh my goodness. Okay. Verbal, musical, verbal linguistic, interpersonal, and intrapersonal. I work with 4 different intelligences. Mm-hmm. So, and those are just the 4 highest ones. And you can see that in the different careers I've had throughout my life and the different areas I've studied. Mm-hmm. So everyone's a little bit different. What did you tally highest in?
I got 4 that are pretty close to the same.
Which are
logical.
Oh, the mathematical logical.
The mathematical and natural.
Yep.
And the body kinesthetic and the personal.
Well, you are very spatial too, because you can take things apart in your head and reassemble them. But whatever. So everyone has a touch of all of these, and they just kind of go back and forth. So now remember that all of these types of according to this theory, and I saw Lockbeard say earlier, and it's okay. He says, I disagree with the definition. Sometimes a truly innovative solution requires a very culturally divergent solution. It's true. And that's why different cultures they value different types of intelligence and different types of problem solving. Can you address this one down here, our scavenger evolution? Our scavenger evolution is why we have stomach acid pH-like typical scavengers. We ran with it to become the hypercarnivore we are today. Many things prove vegans are 180 degrees off the mark.
I totally agree.
Yep. Okay.
Well, yeah, like I said earlier, I meant the meat is what made us smart.
Yep, absolutely. So, and here we go. I like this one. The human mind is built on millennia of gathering around the fire to hear stories and lessons, sparking the imagination and learning. So criticism of favorite actors and singers causes great agitation. Yes, it does. And that right there, and I'm gonna speak to it a little bit when we get to Bigfoot. That right there shows how that was one of the reasons why Homo sapiens developed such strong linguistic intelligence, because even if you don't feel like you're a good speaker or you're comfortable with that, you are more linguistically intelligent than any other non-Homo sapien creature on the planet. Our parrot might have disagreed with us.
Yeah.
She had a mouth on her.
So
anyway, do we need to take another break? Do we have another commercial?
We do.
Before we jump to a commercial, I just want to encourage everyone. We have a new link in our description. We are now fully on Rumble. So make sure you pop over to Rumble through our link and subscribe to Squatch America on Rumble in case this particular platform ever goes down. We will be ready.
Yep. So we're basically just duplicating everything over there. So if you saw it here, you'll see it there.
Yep.
You don't have to watch it twice, but just if you get a chance, go over and do that.
How about?
We did that.
We did that one. Do we have another one?
Mm-hmm. One about our website.
Okay. Have you checked out our website? If you haven't, you are missing so much. There are so many things that you can be part of on our website. And Scott's going to tell you about the first one. What's the first thing they can do on our website?
Well, you can support us by just buying our merch.
Yes, see? This is some awesome merch.
Yeah.
Okay. You can buy our merch, but if you aren't planning on spending any money today, we know you are tomorrow, but you can also subscribe to our email newsletter. We send out a newsletter once a week to alert you of the upcoming show and to give you a link to shows you may have missed. And every now and again, we'll throw in some interesting and beneficial information that you can take advantage of, whether that's a product or an event coming up. And speaking of events, we have a brand new thing on our website. What is it?
We have a calendar.
We have a calendar. Oh my gosh. Now it is still in development, so you might not see everything on there, or you might see more things on there in a few days than you saw today, but we do have a calendar. You can click on our calendar and get real-time information about where we're going to be in any given month.
Yeah, so keep an eye on the calendar so you can see where we're going to be at Bigfoot festivals, other festivals.
Links to our live shows.
And we're also going to be doing, our normal town hall meetings when we go places. So if you want to be a part of that, just watch for us coming to a neighborhood near you.
And that is all on squatchamerica.com. All right. Lockbeard parents are going to parent, and parrots are going to parrot. And I will have to say that she was pretty sassy when we got her. We rescued her, and she was pretty sassy then, but she really took to our particular vocabulary. I will give her that.
All right.
So, and I have one more thing to say. So, I also wanted to say, your comment, the human mind is built on millennia of stories. There is, and this is another topic altogether, there is a huge difference between mind and brain. So mind is another conversation, but yes. Okay, so you wanted to say.
No, I was going to throw something in there, and this is really interesting to think about how we were talking about the development of the brain in the fire, and it triggered something in my head. I remembered, you ever walk into another room? This totally has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it does have to do with the brain. Okay. You know how you walk into another room and you're like, what did I come in here for? That was developed way back when we were still scavengers. Did you know that?
I mean, it's not just this menopausal problem.
It's not a menopausal problem. It was actually, this is kind of interesting. And this is an anthropological theory. But it is thought that when we lived in caves and we had the fire by the front of the cave, that kept the bad things out of the cave. And then when we walked out of the cave into the world, that's where the bad things were. So we had to be hyper alert. So our brains would dump whatever we were arguing with our spouse about in the cave. That goes out of our mind because we got to be hyper alert to stay alive outside the cave.
So you're saying like a doorway is like a reboot.
A doorway is a reboot. Every time you walk through a door, your brain's going to dump whatever was there because there's bad things in this room.
Oh my gosh, that explains why every time my students would leave the classroom, they would forget everything.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So, okay. Now you made me reboot.
Okay.
Anyway. Okay. So now you've tallied your scores. You kind of know what you think that your own intelligence mix might be. Now, remember, this was all about survival. And one thing I want to point out is that as a human community, we have never adapted to our environment. Everything we do, all of our problem solving is about domination. Mm-hmm. We're going to beat it. We're going to, and I, honestly, it's like we have cosmic little man syndrome. Mm-hmm. Sorry to any little guys, but it's like, we're weak, we're vulnerable. And so we've developed tools to be stronger and less vulnerable than we really are. So, mm-hmm. All right, next slide then. Boom. Okay. So what about Bigfoot? All right. This is where it all comes together. And this is where I really started thinking, if indeed, like we theorize, and again, I know we investigate the unexplained, not explain the uninvestigated. And this is a little bit of explaining the uninvestigated, but at this point, there's really no way to put electrodes on brains and have conversations. So this is all hypothetical and theoretical, and it just got me thinking. But if they are indeed a homo species like us, they would have evolved, if not in the same way, for similar reasons. So next slide. All right, so Bigfoot evolution. Let's talk about this being still all about survival. Bigfoot are not small. They are huge, as Bob at our show demonstrated. They're strong. They are physically superior, and they were dominant. They were more at the top of the top end of the food chain, because they could easily overpower and can easily overpower anything. And so, as they were they scavengers? No,
not so much.
They go out and they get what they need. So now they very well may eat bone marrow, but I'm thinking if they have easy access to muscle tissue, that's not going to be something that they're looking at, correct? Again, right. Correct me if I'm wrong. Lockbeard, you are funny. So as the Bigfoot species evolved, they didn't need to collaborate in large groups. They didn't need the strength of numbers that dominance requires, because they already had it. So they stayed in smaller groups and family groups and tribes, family tribes. They were more opportunistic. They, rather than needing to reinvent wheels, or what's the word? It's gone out. Rather than needing ingenuity, they needed to recognize opportunity rather than create it. So thus tool using versus tool making intelligence. They are adaptive to the environment. They didn't need to dominate the environment. They needed to adapt to the environment for the purpose of self and group concealment. So because we were talking in our little discussion at the coffee shop about tool making versus tool using, and this is actually where I started going on this long diatribe in my head about why would they develop tool using intelligence versus tool making intelligence. They didn't need tool making intelligence. They had just their biology. They had more tools at their natural disposal than we ever did. So next slide. So here is my hypothesis or my theory of Bigfoot's dominant intelligences. I would say their most dominant intelligence is bodily kinesthetic. They are huge and strong. They're superior and dominant. They are highly aware of their body in space, and they can navigate their body on the terrain in their environment with relative ease. Dennis, I think, was asking, like some people say, he was just like rattling off every question he could think of. And, some people say that Bigfoot disappears or goes through portals. We've had those conversations before. When you can adapt to your environment so gracefully, so very gracefully, it often looks like you're disappearing. So they're highly aware of their body in space, and they can use their bodies in harmony with the environment. Naturalistic, again, they're adaptive to the environment. They're opportunistic. They know about nature. They can read nature. They know what's out there. And yes, Donna, I bet they know exactly what to go to when their tummy's hurt. They know exactly, what to use to stop bleeding. Because they've had to survive. It's all about survival.
Right. And there's a lot of Native American tales that Bigfoot would take sick Native children and then bring them back well. So
yes, so absolutely. And again, that natural understanding of the environment, of nature around them, has benefited them, and and given them the ability to conceal themselves and conceal their groups unless they want to be seen. Spatial intelligences. The reports we get of precise throwing. When people are having rocks and stumps hurled at them, they're always very precise, precisely not injuring anyone, but sending a warning. So very good space. Have you ever seen me throw a ball?
No.
It's a scary thing. If I aimed at someone, I would either hit someone in the next. Well, I probably wouldn't hit anyone because I can't throw more than about 4 feet. But but what I'm saying is that they are precise. They can judge distances. They can judge angles. Whether or not they're thinking all this, I don't know. But the nests and shelters we've found have incredible design to them. We've had reports of knot tying and braiding, and also pattern recognition. Talk about the patterns that we found.
Yeah, there's this, and it's not just us. I mean, this is all over the Bigfoot world. People talk about how they are very, when you leave gifts out, marbles in particularly, for some reason, when you, like, if you just set a pile of marbles in the woods and then at like a habitation site, you'll come back and you'll see the marbles arranged in patterns, usually patterns of 3 for some reason. But it's very interesting that they are very, what was you?
Pattern
they have pattern recognition. So
which of course you're going to need when you're navigating land navigation.
Right. Or then when you're looking into the woods and there's something that doesn't fit.
Yeah,
like a human.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So and then I chose intrapersonal intelligence versus interpersonal intelligence because we don't find evidence of large groups of them communicating and working together. We have had small, like using echolocation with each other and stuff, like around different parties, but they seem to be very self-aware, self-regulated, and calculating in their behavior, which is all very reflective, introspective, and anyway, but ultimately what it comes down to is that their intelligence evolved to meet their needs, just like our intelligence has evolved to meet our needs as a subspecies. So the Bigfoot species has different needs that they are looking to fill versus us, which is why, although their intelligence is similar, it's not exactly the same. So anyway, Lockbeard says these behavioral differences could have been developed very quickly by a human group who decided to be elusive to avoid other humans, abandoning anything but that leaves a trace to avoid detection. Absolutely. And again, they are, as far as we understand, a homo species just like us. So anyway, that's the end of my spiel.
Wow.
Now you know why all my students forgot everything I said.
Exactly. And her slides were much prettier than mine usually are. So I feel a little embarrassed now.
That's because I have more colors in my crayon box.
That's right. So, but so that's it. We think that they are, what is it? These kinds of intelligences. And humans are these intelligences also. But I think these are the ones that serve them.
Yes.
Is what it boils down to. And I think you're onto something.
I don't know. I probably won't be on to anything else for a long time.
Yeah.
I will reassume my Lucy role now.
Okay. But so let's see. Any questions out there? I know there's something I want to where'd it go? I lost it. Papa Craig said, I used to I used to could hit a grouse at 10 to 20 yards almost every throw. And that's really interesting. I thought I was the only one that used to hunt grouse with sticks when I was a kid. Well, you can walk right up on them. They're
I
not
know.
very.
We watched Denise do that. They pretty much say, "Hey, I could be your dinner tonight. Pick me, pick me."
Yeah.
And Lockbeard, humans have spread like a fungus over the earth. Because honestly, the way we evolved, it has led to lowering our mortality rates.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the longer we live, and actually, the longer we live, the longer our reproductive years become. So we reproduce more. Our babies don't die like other species have babies dying.
Mm-hmm.
In you know.
All right. So
cultures
he-
culture I was
yeah.
going to say cultures that are closer to earlier stages of societal development still see those high mortality rates.
Right. Papa said I used golf ball size rocks. See, I cheated. I used sticks and threw it more like a
javelin.
boomerang.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
All right. So that's the end of my very boring presentation.
Yay. Not yay. So I hope you got something out of that. I thought it was very interesting that we got to, because I don't know, I've heard of many people who, actually think about the intelligence in a psychological way.
And how psychology pairs with evolution.
It does. And it really does. And in case you don't know, the actual science of psychology stemmed out of anthropology, by the way. A lot of people don't know that it's a subfield of anthropology is psychology. So
all right.
Well, thanks for watching, but we got some stuff we're going to throw tomorrow morning. We're going to drop I'm getting back into getting our Friday morning videos out. Thank goodness we're in a place to do that now. So
Footprint Friday is back.
Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed last week's show. If you didn't, go back and watch it. It was pretty interesting. It's about Bigfoot researcher Datus Perry. And
oh yes, here's something we wanted to and this was in the email, and if you watched the Datus Perry video, you will have noticed that all of our Patreons are credited at the end of that video, and all of our Patreons will be credited at the end of every researcher video that we produce. So that's kind of one of our gifts back to our Patreons. We really want to credit them because it's because of support like that we can go out and do that stuff.
Yep. And so tomorrow morning, actually, we'll be dropping our squatching trip that we did in Bluff Creek. That one's dropping tomorrow morning. And then we've got some more stuff coming up next week. So,
yep. So before we go, Lockbeard says the physical differences could have happened quickly too in order to endure the cultural change. No fire, no tools, etc. We changed wolves into chihuahuas and St. Bernards real fast. It's true. Actually, that only takes like to turn a fox into a dog, I think only takes 4 or 5 generations. Four generations. So the footprints found at White Sands, New Mexico, dating 22,000 years ago, could be the ancestors of Sasquatch people.
Very clear. And you and I are on the same page. If you've heard me do my talk about what Bigfoot is, I too believe that they are a race of a Homo species. So
okay, all right. So Raptor, we know you're not a troll. We love you, man.
Okay.
All right. So that's it. So as always, thank you so much for hanging with us. Thank you for putting up with me. I have very strong in verbal linguistic intelligence, and this is me at my best. And honestly, our job really is to investigate the unexplained.
It didn't come up.
Our job is to investigate. Our job is to investigate the unexplained.
not to explain the uninvestigated.
So until next week, make sure you like, subscribe, share the heck out of this video.
Mm-hmm.
And you keep watching, and
we'll keep squatching.
bye.